Hey guys, Todd here. Today we're going to show you how to install the Black Horse HD tubular winch bumper as well as the LD tubular winch bumper on the 2021 and up Ford Bronco. Now make sure you're subscribed to our channel to stay up to date with our latest content. Let's go ahead and get started. The tools I'll be using for this installation are a ratchet with small extension and an 18mm socket, a 10mm, 13mm, and 16mm wrench, a 13mm and 16mm ratcheting wrench, as well as a 5mm and 4mm Allen wrench. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so start off by first removing your factory front bumper. Now, we've had lots of different bumpers on this Bronco and we just removed one that was on there before. Just follow your written instructions on how to remove the bumper. It comes off really easy. Another thing I want to point out is that we do not have the active Grille shutter system over top of our intercooler. There are going to be some instructions, and that's simple as well. Just follow that. We're going to show you installing the bumper. Now, we've got the same install, whether it's the LD bumper or the HD or winch ready bumper. And I'm going to show you how to do it both ways, whether you have no winch or with the winch. So let's go ahead and get into that. Here is the base of our bumper. It's the same base whether it's a winch ready or a non-winch. On the top, you're going to notice we've got some rubber plugs on top. The two in the center on each side, those places need to have the plugs removed if we're going to be running the bull bar up top. So I'm going to go ahead and pull those out because we are going to install the bull bar. If you have the winch bumper, the bull bar is a little bit taller. The non-winch bumper, the bull bar is shorter. So we're going to be installing it as the winch bumper, so I'm going to use the taller bull bar. Now that we have those holes exposed, let me go ahead and grab the bull bar. I'll show you how to put it in place. Rock it forward. All right, so here is our taller of the two bull bars. I'm just going to go ahead and lay it in place right now. You'll notice these two holes right here are going to line up to the holes in the bumper. What we're going to do is we're going to use in our kit, we've got some button head screws. This is the larger of the two types of button head screws. I've already got a flat washer on it. It's going to go through here and then through the bumper. And on the opposite side, we're going to use a flat washer, lock washer, and a nut. We want to get all four of these lined up before we tighten any of them down. So we want to be able to center everything. Same hardware on all four locations. Rotate this up. On this side, you can reach inside the bumper to install the hardware on the back side of the nut. All right, once we have everything connected, we can go ahead and tighten it all down. First, we want to line everything up. Then we're going to use a 5mm on top, 5mm Allen wrench on top, and then on the bottom, if it wants to spin on you, then we'll use a 13 millimeter on the bottom to hold the nut in place. But let's get everything lined up. All right. All right, let's go ahead and move on. All right, now we're focused in on the tow hook portion on the driver's side of the front of the bumper. You'll notice we've got a factory stud here that is already on the bumper. What we're gonna do is, if you have the non-winch bumper, what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our tow hooks. Now this is the non-winch tow hook. So what you're gonna notice here is you've got two oval holes that are gonna face towards the center of the vehicle. Then you have an oval hole and a round hole that face toward the outside of the vehicle. That round hole is gonna line up to the stud, and it's actually gonna slide right down that stud. All right, and these three oval holes are gonna line up to the three oval holes that are already in the bumper. Next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our double bolt plate and slide it through the side that has the two oval holes. And the side that has a single hole, we're gonna take our single bolt plate. We're gonna slide that in place. And for the stud, what we're gonna do now we have all these somewhat lined up, is we're gonna take a washer, flat washer, and a nut. We're gonna put that on finger tight for right now. I'm just gonna run that all the way down. And what that does is that holds that in place while we move forward. And that way it's not falling apart. We're gonna repeat the same process on the opposite side if you have the non-winch bumper. If you have the winch bumper, let's go ahead and pull that back off, and I'll show you how to install that. Now, if you have the winch model, both of our tow hooks are already gonna be included on our winch tray. So we're gonna put it all together as one unit instead of two separate tow hooks. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and line up the holes to the pegs that are the factory studs that are already in the bumper. Once we line both sides up, we can go ahead and just kind of slide that down into place. And just like before, what we're gonna do, find our double bolt plate, slide it in, find our single bolt plate, do the same thing on the opposite side. And just like we did before, we're gonna do the flat washer, lock washer, and nut, and get those just finger tight for right now. Because we still wanna have a little bit of adjustability side to side on this. I'm gonna do that on both sides. And one other thing I want to go ahead and point out, if you've got factory front-facing sensors, you'll also notice we've got a sensor location in the winch tray. That's because if the sensor was back here, that winch tray would cause a sensor malfunction. So what we need to do is relocate the sensor up to here. Now, we're also provided with a couple of harnesses. These are going to extend from your factory harness. So basically, it's going to come back to your factory harness, plug into that, and then route underneath, and then plug in to where your sensor is relocated to. You're gonna do that on both sides. Now, obviously, if you do not have factory sensors, just like us, then you're gonna put caps onto all of those holes. So let me go ahead and pop the caps into all of those. And that's gonna give you a nice finished look. Okay, now this is the inside of the bumper, and I'm gonna focus on this side first. Everything I do on this side, we're gonna be repeating on the opposite side. So you'll notice we've got our double bolt plate here, our single bolt plate here, and they're trying to fall back out of place. And so what we're gonna do is we're going to install these retainers on the bolt plates, and that's just going to hold them in place so that they don't fall out, and it helps us to line everything up to the Bronco. We're going to do the same thing on this side over here. Hold those in place here and slide on the plastic retainers. Get a little bit of a spin there. All right, now it's going to hold that in place. Next, what I'm going to do is go to this little window right here. Now, there is a mount right here for a light to shine through that window. Now, we've also got in our kit these screens. These are side specific, so it's only going to line up one way. So what we're going to do, we'll notice we've got some slotted holes here, and then we've also got some holes on the built-in bracketry on the inside. So we're going to slide that in place, just like so. All right, and once that is in place, what we're going to do is we're going to take our smaller button head bolts that have a washer and lock washer built into them. They don't come apart. We're going to go through from the inside we've got a little serrated flange nut that we're going to go into over here. Get those finger tight first. I'm going to go ahead and slide the serrated flange nut in on this side. So we've got the hole exposed, and then put the bolt in through this side. All right, I'm going to hold on to that with a 10 millimeter. All right, next what we're going to do is use a 4 millimeter Allen wrench to go ahead and tighten these down. All right, repeat the same on the opposite side. Okay, now that we've got both sides put together, this is exactly the way it's going to look like up underneath here, whether you've got the winch bumper or the non-winch bumper. They're going to install the exact same way up to the vehicle. This is a good time to go ahead and install any kind of lights that you have for pod lights to go behind those windows. Also, if you have adaptive cruise control, this opening right here is where that adaptive cruise is going to fit. Now, we don't have adaptive cruise, but I at least want to show you, this is the parts that you're going to get that will attach to the adaptive cruise. So your factory adaptive cruise will attach right here and then wire up to it. And then this is going to slide in place. We've got a bracket up top here. We've got some M8 bolts with a washer. It's going to go through that bracket with a flat washer, lock washer, and nut on the opposite side. Once we have that in place, we can go ahead and tighten everything down. It's a 13 millimeter wrench on the top and bottom. All right, now, if you've got adaptive cruise, that's going to go there. If you don't have adaptive cruise, you can either keep that there and kind of cover up that hole, or you can leave that out and allow for more airflow. Now, before we attach this to the Bronco, we first need to go to our frame horns and stiffen those up. Let me show you how to do that. Okay, now this is our passenger side frame horn. Now, the bumper that we're attaching to this has a winch, and so you have a tremendous amount of pressure you can put back here on this frame. So what we're going to do is we're going to stiffen that up using these brackets. Now these are our reinforcement brackets. You'll notice this one has 2 oval holes, this one has 1 oval hole. Also, they're kind of boxed into where the top side of the box is boxed up top, but it's open at the bottom. This also will have a letter P stamped inside your inner frame reinforcement bracket, and this one has a P stamped inside it as well. But what they're going to do is they're going to kind of face each other like so. So what we're going to do is we're going to reach up in here, and we're going to line that reinforcement bracket up to the oval holes in the frame horn. And we're going to do the same on this side. Now, once those are in place, what we're going to do is take from our kit the long bolt with a flat washer. We're going to go through this, through the hole in the frame, and all the way through the hole in the frame on the other side. And that holds both of those in place. And we're also on the opposite side going to do a flat washer, lock washer, and a nut. We're not going to tighten those down just yet. We want to make sure everything is nice and lined up. So we're just going to put it in finger tight for right now. Now, before we tighten it up, what we want to do is we want to draw all this stuff up to the frame and then line everything up. So once it's all lined up, then we can go ahead and start tightening things down. So we're going to use a 16 millimeter on both sides to tighten down that hardware. We're going to get it snug first, get everything moved into place where it's supposed to be. And then we can go ahead and finish tightening it down. All right, now go ahead and repeat the same for the brackets on the opposite side. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and bring it up to the Bronco and line it up to the factory holes and then slide it in place. Now, it is good to have a second set of hands to help you get everything lined up so you can crawl underneath there and start attaching your hardware. All right, now as each one of these bolts come through the frame, what we're going to do is we're going to put a flat washer, lock washer, and nut on each one of them. And then we're going to make sure everything is held nice and steady as we tighten everything down. We want everything to be lined up as we tighten everything down. So flat washer, lock washer, and nut. Flat washer, lock washer, and nut. All right, now we've got it all lined up. We're going to go ahead and tighten it down using 18 millimeter. All right, now we're going to go ahead and tighten up the nut on this side of the frame and then repeat the same thing on the opposite frame. All right, now we're back in front of the bumper. You'll notice here we've got a couple of inserts that are threaded, and that is for a license plate bracket. So if you're in a place where it requires a license plate, you can go ahead and put that in. This is the bracket, and these are the tabs that go in place. Now, what you're going to attach this with is going to be your button head bolts that have the washer and lock washer already built into it. Just get those lined up and tighten them down with a 4 millimeter Allen wrench. If you are not going to put the license plate bracket on, you can still put the hardware in there, and that kind of covers up those brass colored inserts. So either like that or like that. All right, next we're gonna come over here. This is still kind of exposed, so they've got some cover plates. They're U-shaped. They're gonna go over top of that. Now you'll notice we've got some threaded holes in the bumper right here. What I recommend to do is take the same hardware we just did with the license plate. It's those button head bolts with the Allen head on top with the washer and lock washer built into it. Run it through the hole first. Make sure you clear out any kind of powder coat that might be in those threads. Then you'll notice that on the U plate, we've got some holes that are gonna line up on the outside. So I'll line those up. And then we're gonna take that hardware and go right into it. I like to get all of them lined up before I tighten any of them down. Once we get everything tightened up, repeat the same process for the U plate on the opposite side. Well, that concludes the installation. If you found this video helpful, make sure and give us a thumbs up. If you want to know more about the product, check the link in the description below. And as always, if you have any questions, call the experts or visit us online at RealTruck.com.